My name's Guy Kestevan and I've been testing mountain bikes and kit for nearly 25 years. And today this is the tech talk around on Pivot's Switchblade Team XDR. This is the Team XDR version, so as you'd expect, XDR brakes and XDR drive chain, but because this is the team version, there is an XTR XT version which gets a standard chain set. This gets a Raceface Next R crank, so a sub 500 gram crank, but still with the tougher axle and pedal inserts from the 6C freeride crank. So really nice combination, again, of just a really light piece that still drives really, really hard. And I've even upgraded it with these wolf tooth components. So in terms of drive chain, really, really top level. In terms of brakes, I'm not so sure. Suffered some bite point issues all the way through from testing. They're right for the first couple of rides, and then, you know, random bite point. It's been a long time kind of issue with Shimano brakes, and unfortunately these XDRs didn't escape it. And also on the rear, brake pad rattle was really, really distracting. So it's interesting to see a lot of top enduro riders who ride pivots and other bikes like Da Vinci actually use the unfinned pads or cut the pads off, cut the fins off the pads to reduce the rattle and noise on there because they find it distracting. But anyway, this comes in a whole bunch of different specifications. You don't have to go for XDR. Starts at £5,700, but goes all the way up to 12,400 if you want the full Joey Exotic SRAM Axis wireless setup. What you do get is Fox top of the range factory kit, so it's a factory 36 fork on the front with 160mm travel, and then at the back you've got a super custom tuned DPX2 for Fox float shock. It's not as exclusive as it was because a lot of the work they did with the base plate and the revalving of the shock features on the new 2021 DPX2s, but frankly, that can only be a good thing because this is the smoothest DPX2 I have ever ridden by a long shout. Trunnion mount at the front, so you've got the bearings through there for ultra sensitivity, and then you've even got a nice little sag marker on there to record that travel. As you can see, uses, you know, it's pretty keen to use most of its travel and then often stop short of giving you full stroke, and that's something you have to work around with a volume spacer when you get, well, certainly I did when I got the bike. Ended up dropping out the original quite large 0.6 inch volume spacer for something smaller, just to get a slightly less progressive stroke and get full travel out of it. But apart from that, you've got the super short lower linkage there for this DW link system, and then this amazing sort of one-piece machined CNC alloy knuckle at the top. So super, super tight from a linkage point of view, and then these oversized bearings all the way through. At the top corner here, you've got this little eccentric piece, so that means you can shift the geometry by half a degree. In terms of seat angle, goes from 75 to 75.5 to 76, and head angle goes from 66 to 66.5. And it also raises this relatively high bottom bracket, so it starts off at 447, but it goes up to 452 when you lift it into the high position. But with the way that shock sinks into its travel so easily, that's not a problem dynamically on the trail. Reach, again, quite a balanced reach. It's 470 or 475 on this large, depending on where you put the that flip chip. And then super short rear end, so 432mm rear end. They really get that back wheel in close with that short linkage, but it's still got decent tyre clearance in there, as you can see. And also, because they keep the seat tubes short, if you want a longer reach bike, it's easy to size up. So yeah, I could go to an extra large, or if you're on a medium, you could go to a large and get the reach that way. But as you'll see from the live ride video, it just produces a really well balanced ride. Frame itself is made from what Pivot called their hollow core carbon system, so really, you know, a high pressure system that formed over a solid center that really lets them sort of squeeze maximum resin out of it, so you're just getting pure high grade carbon fiber, which keeps the frame super stiff, and again just gives it a great dynamic feel. The feel of this bike is a real strong point of it. You're getting in terms of detailing, because this is, you know, this is a super pricey bike, so in terms of detailing, you're getting these little smart port cable ports here. You can swap them obviously if you're running a wireless system, but they just stop the cables from rattling around inside. And also, the other thing they've done to cut down rattle and chatter from stones or just things flying up, you've got a little rubber sort of skirt across the top of the linkage there to stop anything dropping down between mainframe and swing arm. You've got this really neat little elevated chainstay guard there to stop the chain banging off there, and it's a full wraparound rubber guard there. And as you can see, it's not just stuck on the outside, there's a little shelf actually moulded into the carbon fibre. So really neat, you know, there's just neat detail all the way through this. Not everyone's going to like the fact, if you see there, it's got a press fit bottom bracket, but to be fair, recent press fit bottom bracket bikes I've not had a serious issue with them in terms of reliability. They've run absolutely fine. I've beasted a Norco all through winter and it's been absolutely spot on. So, you know, maybe that isn't the headache it used to be, certainly for UK riders. In terms of frame weight, Pivot claimed 2.6 for a small frame without a shock, which would equate to around 3 kilos with a shock for a medium, which is the weights I normally go off. But actual complete bike weight, 13.67 for this bike, suggests frame weight might actually be a little heavier in reality. As well as the Fox suspension, you've got Fox Kashima coated factory transfer dropper post, and it comes in 175mm stroke on this, so plenty of clearance again because you've got that short seat tube there, so when the seat goes down it's a proper drop, so you can really get your groove on. This is the second generation of Pivot Switchblade. It's named after an original Titus bike, and Switchblade officially comes from the fact that you can switch these 29er wheels out for 27.5 by 2.8 tyres as well. So a lot of that comes from the fact it's got this super boost rear end. Pivot introduced it on the original Switchblade and it's a 157mm rear axle, so a lot wider than the standard 148mm boost, which does create a bit of a problem with getting spare hubs in a hurry. Wheel choices if you're buying a lower grade one, but with that Industry 9 Hydra hub in there as standard, that's not something you're going to want to upgrade. That, you know, instant engagement, proper top spec hub. I mean, not everyone might like the buzz of it, but the buzz you get from the instant acceleration is certainly addictive when you're riding this bike. And it's laced into Reynolds Black Label Enduro rims, so 28mm internal diameter rim, light, tough, super tight riding feel. So again, really suits the bike. And in terms of tyres, you've got a classic Minion DHR rear and DHF front combo in a 29 by 2.4 at the rear and 29 by 2.5 at the front. So you've got all that kind of wide tyre footprint and control, but in a really precise, light and agile wheel set. And to be honest, that just sums up this bike superbly. And then just coming up above so we can look at the controls, you've got these Pivot lock-on grips, Pivot's own carbon bar and a Pivot stem. Again, not, you know, obviously not brand name stuff, it's just the Pivot logo on there, but really superb quality, to be fair. Really nice ride feel from the bars, really stiff, short 45mm stem that just gives you all the steering transfer and accuracy that you want to really bring out the best in this bike. And final contact point, you've got a Pivot branded WTB saddle, and that actually comes in a different design depending what size of bike you ride. So smaller bikes get a different type of saddle. And then just flipping it around, you get a clearer view of this belly armour here, and you've got you've got a bottle cage mount there, and then just under here you've got another mount. You can lose it for Fox's live valve suspension actuation system, fully electronic kind of intelligent suspension system, or you can just put a little cargo box under there. Interestingly, although Pivot normally work really closely with Shimano, there's no provision for Di2 on this bike, which suggests that the next electric shifting system from Shimano will almost certainly be wireless, because previous bikes have been Di2. And the other thing, just to mention, this is the first Switchblade and the first of the longer travel bikes that's had this vertical shock position in a Pivot. They introduced it on the Pivot Mach 4 SL, and now it's been moved across to this Switchblade as well. And it just gives them that more, it changes the suspension kinematic, so they can use it with a coil shock, or it gives this, and it just means they can shrink the whole frame size down, so it's a more compact frame, but they can still fit a large size bottle on every frame size. And because the frame's smaller, it just makes it lighter, it makes it tighter, it makes the whole bike kind of more compact and agile, and that's a real take home on this bike. So that's the tech talk round done. Like I say, please watch the live ride video, and thanks if you're a subscriber already. If you're not, sign up please, click for notifications so you know when the next video goes live. And if you really like what I'm doing with the channel, please consider joining these excellent folk who are my Patreon subscribers, who pay a small monthly fee to get exclusive behind the scenes edit, extended edits and early access stuff that you won't see on normal YouTube. I'm Guy Kestevan, this has been Guy Kes TV, and I've been talking about Pivot's Switchblade Team XDR.